Catholics are just modern-day Jews.
All makes sense now why they both have cool little skull caps. Apparently the Catholics wear it to keep their bald heads warm, and the modern-day Jews wear it because it's in the Talmud. Michael nailed it in this video. The Catholics are just modern-day Pharisees. Just as the Pharisees dressed up in religious garb, so do the Catholics. I mean, nothing screams Christ's humility like having a gold helmet, along with a gold staff, sitting on a gold throne. Yeah, I'm sure this is exactly how Jesus wanted the church to operate, okay? And actually, what you see here is the practice of the Nicolaitans. You know, the practice that Jesus hates, Revelation 2:6, but this you have, that you hate the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. And you may be asking, how is the Catholic Church practicing the deeds of the Nicolaitans? That's because the practice of the Nicolaitans is to rule over the common people, just like they do, wearing their religious garb and ruling over the common people. That's what the word Nicolaitans means in the Greek. The meaning of the name Nicolaites derives from the Greek word Nikos, which means victory, which is actually where we get the English word Nike from, to be victorious, to conquer. And then laetes comes from the Greek word laos, which means the common people. So when you put the two together, it means to conquer or rule over the laity, the common people, which is exactly what the Catholic Church does, separating the church hierarchy from the common people wearing religious garb and ruling over them, which is exactly what the Pharisees did, ruling over the common people. Now what's interesting is how you can see history repeat itself. So you had Jesus teaching his disciples like common people, wearing common clothing, just like you had Moses teaching the Israelites in the desert. And now somehow we have gone from Jesus teaching like this to the Catholic Church morphing into this. Just like Israel morphed from Moses teaching in the desert to then the Pharisees ruling in the temple. And I'm getting sick and tired of hearing the Catholics say, we are the original church. For the last 2,000 years, the Catholic Church is the original church. No, it's not. The original church was Jewish. And even with that, there was still a separation. You had the Hebrews and then you had the Hellenists. And there was a divide and rip between the two. Now you may be asking, what's the difference between the Hebrews and the Hellenists? The Hebrews were in Jerusalem and they worshipped in the temple. The Hellenized Jews were the ones that got separated in the diaspora. They were scattered throughout the Empire of Rome. And there was a divide between the two. But this made up the original church, not the Catholic Church. And then from that point, the church slowly morphed into a Gentile church, slowly leaving the Jewish roots of Christianity, which by the way, Christianity is a fulfillment of Judaism, and then morphing into a Greco-Roman Stoic type of religion. But yet the Catholics will tell you that you are ignorant of church history if you do not agree that the Catholic Church is the original church, when they can't even see the irony of being called Roman Catholic. Let that sink in for a second. The Jewish Messiah came for the Jewish people, and then he created a new man, the church, where it started with the Jews and then it went out to the Gentiles, somehow morphed into the Roman Catholic Church to become the original church. Brother, please. And from this separation from the Jewish roots and understanding of the scriptures, you then have the morphing or the mixing of Christianity with paganism. And that's what you have with the Catholic Church, along with Greek philosophy and Platoism ideology reading into the text, over spiritualizing everything and completely divorcing and losing the Hebrew interpretation of the scriptures that was written by Hebrews. But what you are witnessing right now is Romans chapter 11. The Gentile branch is boasting against the Jewish branch, which Paul warned about. And with the separation with the Gentile church forsaking its Jewish roots, it then created the whole idea of replacement, fulfillment, supersessionism, which then led to horrific atrocities inflicted upon the Jewish people. Now, this Gentile boasting does not just end with the Catholic Church. The Reformers also carried this on. So yeah, I could carry on, but Michael did a great job pointing out all the similarities between the Pharisees and the Catholic Church. But I want to bring up one more thing that's interesting. The reason why you see Jesus battling the Pharisees so much and not the Sadducees and other sects, because there was different sects during that time. You had the Essenes, the Sadducees, the Pharisees. But the reason why you see Jesus facing off the Pharisees so much is because of the similarities. Kind of like the similarities that we as Protestants have with the Catholics. Because the Pharisees believed in the resurrection and angels. And the Pharisees had a stronger grip on the common people. Hence why Jesus and his disciples rubbed shoulders with them more than the Sadducees. Because the Sadducees were more involved with the temple and politics. They were more conservative. But likewise, we see the Protestants and the Catholics going toe to toe because we rub shoulders so much. And we have a lot of similarities. But one of my big pet peeves is how the Catholic Church wants to say how they are the original church, but yet they have shifted from worshiping the resurrection to worshiping the death of Jesus on the cross. Because the early church celebrated the resurrection. But now the Catholic Church has turned and worshiped the death of Christ. Now, I'm not saying we are supposed to forget about the death on the cross. We understand that, but we celebrate the resurrection, which the early church, the original church, did. So yeah, that's my little rant. I understand the Catholics are not going to face it. They are going to comment, the little keyboard warriors, and they are going to inflict a crusade on the comment section and bring it on. I really don't care. It is so blatantly obvious to anybody who has an ounce of discernment that the Catholic Church is not the way. But people love religion and people love tradition. But if you are a Catholic, I hope that you are a bad Catholic. I hope you do not follow the Catholic doctrine. I hope that you believe and trust in Jesus for eternal life, faith alone, but you just are part of the Catholic Church because of upbringing and tradition. So with that, guys, I love you all so much. I recommend going back and watching Michael's video about the similarities between the Pharisees and the Catholics. And then with this video, hopefully you can kind of tie loose ends together. Love you all so much. God bless. And remember, the just shall live by faith.